Hi, I here. This is a reading for the sign of Taurus. We're going to do a Celtic cross spread with the Thoth deck, and then we're going to pull 3 cards from the Shadow deck to see if there's any confirmations or background emotions or anything else we should be made aware of that doesn't come through in the main reading. So let's just see what happens. Alright, so today we are channeling the energy of the sign of Taurus. So let us see what messages come through for the sign of Taurus. So if that's your sun, your moon, your rising, however you identify with the sign of Taurus, you can use that to interpret this message as you choose. As always, if there's anything that does not fit, don't try to make it fit. Don't try to force anything. Use your own judgment and your own intuition. Get whatever messages you need. Take what works, leave what doesn't. And if none of it works, that's fine. You can always check your other placements, or you can just stick around and see if you enjoy whatever messages come out. Just, to see what's going on with the rest of the Tauruses out there. All right. So today, as I said, we are channeling the energy of Taurus. So as always, I hope you're having a great day so far. If you're watching this in the morning, I hope that the rest of your day is productive and or restful. And if you're watching this in the evening, I hope that your day has been productive and or restful. Whatever you needed to get done today, I hope that you were able to accomplish it. Whatever you need, I hope you just had a good day. All right, so let's see what we have today for the sign of Taurus. All right, so that feels pretty good, so let's see what we get. So here we start off in the present moment with the Lovers, a choice, a crossroads, a decision, a commitment. Good place to start. Let's see what is surrounding this choice. The Nine of Wands. So definitely probably been going through a sort of heavy situation leading up to this choice, and now the final moment is to decide, what are you going to do? Are you going to go left? Are you going to go right? Are you going to stay the course, veer off of it? Something like that is likely what is going to come here. But let's see what we have around the card. Yeah, this looks work-related. We have a 3 of Pentacles, and we have the Prince of Discs. This feels very work-related. Here we have the Hermit. At the top we have the Death card. We have the 6 of Swords, the Chariot, the Lust card, and here we have the 3 of Swords. Okay, so we'll see what is on the back of this deck after we go through the rest of the main reading. This will represent what we don't see coming, but let's get a little bit of context for what that might be based on the rest of the cards that are here. So, all right, let's see what we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcana. So that's a pretty hefty amount. So whatever this choice is that you're dealing with, it seems heavy. This is definitely of importance, so you want to take your time with whatever decision you're making here. Let's make sure that we make this choice wisely. But let's see, what else for other energies? We have, in terms of court cards, a Prince of Discs. And that's it. That's our only court card. And then for the rest of the suit of Pentacles, it looks like we have 1, 2... So two Earth energy cards. In terms of fire energy, we have the Strength card here, the 9 of Wands. That's our only fire card. Though there's definitely some fire here from the Lust card for sure. In terms of our air energy, we have the 6 of Swords, the 3 of Swords, and in terms of, we have nothing from the Suit of Cups. Okay, so no water energy here, or no overt water energy. All right, there's a little water here from, this is Cancer's card here, but still no direct water energy. So definitely leaning more towards air and earth. So I think this is probably something about reevaluating your choices regarding either how you make your money or whatever projects you put your time and your energy into. So we start here, as I opened up with the Lovers. This is the present moment. So you're at some kind of crossroads. And as I said, the fact that this card is being crossed by the 9 of Wands leads me to think that you are in the middle of some major project or some work situation that is culminating with some kind of decision of I'm getting the sense of, do I stay or do I go? And so here in the past, we have the Three of Pentacles. This is some kind of construction or collaboration with other people. And so I think that you are part of some team and you've been putting in a lot of work with this team. And the decision is, do we continue to work with this or do we go off on our own? And I think that's maybe why we have a Prince of Discs here. I think this might be representing the choice could be to go solo. You know, is it time to stay through, see this project to the end? Do we let this 9 become a 10? Which, you know, for those familiar with tarot, the 10 of Wands is a card of burden as well as completion. So that might be what is sort of making you apprehensive about continuing forward on this path. It might be a situation where I can continue to work with these people or work on this project, but it might come with more duties and responsibilities that are worthwhile. And perhaps it's time to set off and move forward as the Prince of Discs on some new endeavor of putting your own energy into it. And I think you're considering this. I mean, you have a choice to be made, so hopefully you're considering this. And I think you're taking the time to sort of reflect internally on what you're dealing with and trying to decide, is this something I want to invest my time with further? Is this what is propelling me forward as an individual? Or am I just doing this to help those around me? And so I think this really is very much a decision about, do I continue to work on this thing or with these people, or do I go my own way and try to forge my own new path? And I think that's why above everything, what you see at the top, what is in front of you in your conscious energy, is the Death card. Again, reinforcing this idea of, do I put it into this? And you know, you'll be able to take forth with you the lessons you learned while working on this project. So you're not really cutting your ties entirely with your experiences, but I do feel like you are probably cutting your ties with other people. And so again, you're in this moment of, do I want to continue doing this for myself, or do I want to end this and move forward into some new project, taking this on the road in some sense, and doing your own thing. Again, reinforcing this idea of this decision here, we have the Six of Swords. This is the Science card. This is the reflecting on any kind of conflicts or failures or defeats from our past and trying to use our mental energy to figure out how we recover from this. And again, I think you are probably in a situation where you've probably been working on this project for quite some time. It probably is starting to get very burdensome. It's probably, I mean, with the Nine of Wands here, I suspect that whatever this is, it's probably very close to completion, but maybe it's one of those situations where it's always close to completion. It never feels like it's actually getting done, and so that's what maybe is leading you to decide, do we cut our losses and move forward, or do we keep trying to make this thing work? And that's why your energy here with both the Hermit and the Science card over here, I think you're very much in this reflective state of, okay, am I going to keep trying to make this work, or are we going to see this through to the end? And in your environment, you have here the Chariot card. So this is a card of trying to decide where to, you know, who is carrying this forward? Are we going to be able to keep this sort of balance and stability as we make this project work by all coming together, having a shared vision, and then trying to implement that shared vision? Or are the people pulling the chariot maybe veering off in their own directions? Like maybe you're in a situation where you're trying to get this project done, but you're working with so many different people from so many different backgrounds that you don't have a clear vision on how this thing needs to get completed. And that's probably why you're stuck in this 9 rather than this 10 state, where, you know, you can put in the effort and the time and hope that it's going to eventually be accomplished, but at the end of the day, it kind of feels like maybe there's just too many voices in the room, or as the phrase is, too many cooks in the kitchen sort of thing. And I think you would rather be someone who is more in charge and in control of what is going on. However, it is a little odd that we have here in your challenge, or what you don't want, the Lust card. Maybe you are apprehensive to some degree about stepping out and being your own leader and being the person in charge. I get the sense that you probably very much want to have a little bit more structure and organization in what you're doing. You want something to be as orderly as this when you're trying to build it, rather than it being a potential chaotic mess when those people pulling the chariot are all veering off in different directions. In order for the chariot to move forward, everything has to be in alignment. Everyone has to be on the same page. And I get the sense that that's probably not what's happening here. But the other side of that is, if you are going to step out on your own and do things your way, it's your responsibility to make sure everything is done properly. So you're going to have to rely on your own strength of will to be able to get the projects that you're interested in completed. By stepping away and having your freedom, what you do give up is your ability to be able to rely on other people. And I think maybe perhaps what you are afraid of, what you're most concerned about, is having to step into your own power and deal with this situation. And maybe this comes from past situations where you've had to deal with some sense of pain or struggle from having to be the person in charge. Maybe you're the kind of person who does not like stepping into the leadership role and taking charge of things. But that might be what has to happen. I mean, if you want to be able to continue on and live this energy of the Prince of Discs in the future, if you really want to move towards this ending, this new beginning, there is going to be a little bit of loss and pain, and you can't let those concerns about what you're going to be able to accomplish on your own be the kind of things that hold you back from being successful in the future. So I'm not seeing too much of a complicated message here. Like I said, this feels like it comes through pretty clearly as you're choosing to decide whether or not you want to complete this project. You're right there at the finish line, and I mean, maybe it is a situation where you do want to complete it and then move on. But I get the sense that the reason we're crossed by the 9 is that we don't want to necessarily take things to the 10 and have to carry that burden. So yeah, I think you're in a work situation where you want to be able to set out on your own and do your own thing. And so you're reflecting on what that's going to mean and reevaluating and trying to decide, like, as we go forward, are we going to be able to keep everything organized and held together? Or is the chariot just going to derail as all these different voices are veering in different places? So yeah, and again, the conclusion here with the Three of Swords, I'm very much feeling a sense of a fear, essentially, of what kind of pain may be incurred when you have to do all these things on your own, and you can potentially fail, and then you have no one but yourself to put those failures on, and that can be a very stressful, painful thing to deal with. So that's why you're also maybe why your challenge is the Lust card, is again having this confidence to do it your way, and not be afraid that just because you're doing it alone, it's not going to work out. So, all right, let's see what we don't see coming. The Queen of Discs, or the Queen of Pentacles if you prefer. So that's interesting. So what we don't see coming then is, this is someone who has the know-how, the knowledge, and is very stable and has a good practical foundation in their physical realm. She's someone who is aware of the comforts of life, knows how to live comfortably but practically, and with a certain level of grace, and not being too extravagant, even though she is successful and comfortable. This could potentially be someone who does maybe provide for you some sort of guidance. Maybe when you set off on your own, maybe what this is saying is that you shouldn't be so worried about being on your own, that perhaps there will be others there to help you get through the difficult times. It just feels like you're going to be on your own because you don't know who or what these external forces are that are potentially going to help you as you try to set off on your own. But again, this isn't saying one way or the other whether you should or should not choose to walk away from this project. But it does sort of feel like the issue that is hurting you the most is deciding whether or not you feel like this is worth your time to keep working with this group of people. And again, this is probably either a person that is in your group that might come to you and be able to provide some practical knowledge in order to decide, if you stay, how to do that properly. Or it could be someone that is coming externally after you have left whatever the situation is, that's going to help you get on your feet as you try to establish yourself on your own and build the confidence you need to be able to overcome the past negativity that is maybe pushing you away from deciding to leave. That's what I see with the Three of Swords here. Or another interpretation, actually, of the Three of Swords is it could be a situation where you're working with people that you feel a certain amount of emotional connection with. And so stepping away from this project may not just be a practical matter. It could be a situation where stepping away is going to lead you to have to feel like you're abandoning friends rather than just abandoning coworkers, and that could be an extra sort of weight that's sitting on you as you're making this decision. I mean, these sword cards are always related in some way to the thoughts that are floating around in our heads as we're trying to make decisions. They're the voices in our head that are saying do this, that, or the how we're interpreting what's going on around us. And this is the card of reevaluating from what doesn't work and having to figure out what will work in the future. But the three is more of what didn't work in the past and the weight that that puts upon us. And so, again, maybe you're working with people that you care about, but you do not work well with. And maybe it's a situation where it's time to put this to rest with the death card and move on to do your own thing. But that will come with it a certain amount of pain and struggling. So I hope you're able to get through whatever this decision is for you. But again, the decision is 100% yours to make. Only you know what the details of this situation are and how it should best be handled. So, all right, so that's what I'm getting from that. Let's pull 3 cards from the Shadow deck to see what we get over here. So let's see what we get. All right. So we're going to pull 3 cards and see if there's any confirmation. Maybe this will tell us a little bit more clarity about where your head is at regarding this decision. Or maybe some factors to consider when making this decision. So let's just see what we get. Ace of Swords, 3 of Cups, and the 4 of Wands. Okay, so Ace of Swords, this is like a clarity of thought. This is an insight, a new inspiration, or a new moment of clarity. Some kind of new thought coming through that is sort of pushing us forward to be able to make some sort of decision that we may have been uncertain of in the past. So with this whole reading sort of centering around this decision, I'm thinking that this is the emotion that is coming in with, it sits above the 3 of Pentacles here. So maybe there was some moment in the past where you realize that the people you're working with are just, it's not working. It's not working the way you want it to work. But here, this is interesting that we have the 3 of Cups. This is a card of like celebration. This, but like of coming together with friends and family, or just a celebration with the community of some sort. Some celebratory gathering is what I'm getting from this card. And so, with the Ace of Swords here, again, this is, I think, the realization of the reality of working on this project with these people, what that really means. But here, I think, as I said before, I think the conflict might be is that you're working with friends, people you associate with as more than just colleagues, but people that you actually feel emotionally connected with. And that is hard to let go of. That's why I think even though this is a positive card, it's sitting on top of this decision here. It's on top of what is crossing you. The decision to decide whether or not you want to see this through to the end is more than just worrying about the extra weight of the project once it's finished. It's also dealing with the abandoning of these people that you actually care about. And again, 4 of Wands, this is another card that is in some ways leading up to some kind of celebration or gathering. But it's also a card of building some sort of foundation too, some sort of home. It's when you see the 4 of Wands in the Rider-Waite deck, you see these 4 pillars that look like they are going to be something that's going to hold up some kind of housing above you. Here we see a ladder of leading us to some sort of distant, presumable home here. And I think maybe what this foundation is this is the conflict I feel right here is the conflict of staying with the Three of Cups and working with the people you care about, or building into the future and trying to find some sort of long-term established home for yourself, and setting off on your own as the Prince of Disc here. So that's really what I see. Again, I don't see any clarification on what is the right decision, but this feels clear to me that that's what the decision is between, is working on this project with people that you care about versus abandoning it and trying to build a sort of sustainable home or, foundation for yourself in your own future. And what we don't see coming from the bottom of the shadow deck there is the King of Cups. So maybe in the near future, you're either going to have some kind of person. Why the King of Cups here? So I'm thinking, again, coming back to this idea of abandoning the people that you care about. As I said, there's the Queen of Discs here, someone that can come in and help you make a practical decision. The King of Cups, this is someone who is emotionally receptive, but in control of those emotions. So maybe what's going to happen here is you're going to get to a point where you're going to realize the emotional weight that these people are putting on you as your friends or your family or whatever kind of personal connection you have with them beyond just colleagues. Maybe this is you coming to realize the reality of the situation is that you can't be numb to the feelings of these people, but you also have to be practical. So I think maybe you're going to be in a situation. Again, I feel this contrast between the building a future for yourself, something practical that you can live and expand on, versus the realization that you're going to have to walk away from people that you care about. But the King of Cups is going to have the maturity. He'll feel this, but he won't necessarily be controlled by this feeling. So maybe you'll get to a point where you'll be able to make a more clear decision about what's going on, where you'll be paying attention to the consequences of what your emotions are telling you, but will not be driven by them. And again, I think there's going to be some force either within the group or externally outside of the group that's going to help you figure out the practical consequences of this situation. So I feel like as you're making this decision, pay attention to any sort of emotional resonance that you have with these people. Don't let that control you, but don't be numb to it. And at the same time, be on the lookout for any sort of people or resources that can help you get started or get on the ground as you walk away from whatever this project is. So that's the reading I have for you. Pretty straightforward message is really what I'm getting from this. Like I said, making some kind of work decision and trying to make sense of how the consequences are going to affect you. Yeah, I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.